We've been doing these tier list videos for Rise of Kingdoms for a very long time. I don't even remember how many videos we made, but for Call of Dragons, we have to have the heroes on the background, because when I put a hero on a certain tier, I need to explain it with the skills, because this is a super new game. Call of Dragons just launched a few weeks ago, so we are not extremely familiar with the skills, so I have to show you one by one. Similar videos we made for Rise of Kingdoms, they were super important, because investing on heroes in these type of games, whether it's hero, whether it's commander, so Rise of Kingdoms, Call of Dragons, doesn't matter, it takes a lot of either time or money, but most cases it takes both. A lot of time and a lot of money. Especially if you're a free-to-play or low spender, you gotta invest perfectly. That's why we had the tier list videos for Rise of Kingdoms, and we will have in future, of course, but this is our first tier list for Call of Dragons. Without further ado, by the way, gathering, farming only, gathering plus utility, good but should be replaced, is a third category. The second best, great, can be used for a long time, but still there is a room for improvement. And of course we have at the top the best. Let's go.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Starting with gathering heroes. In Call of Dragons, gathering is... this gathering talent tree is crazy. The reason is Earth's Grace. When a legion finishes gathering resources, your hero receives experience. So what you can do, you can use those gathering heroes as primary, and your main heroes such as Valen, Lilia, Voldir, Emrys, doesn't matter. You can use them as secondaries, and you can get a lot of XP for them. And this is not the only skill. We have Earth's Grace here, we have another one in here, and we have another one in here. So this talent will get you a lot of XP. So even though I think gathering commanders are extremely useful, still though in the tier list they will be in the gathering section, because that is the only thing they're good at. Now we have two more gathering heroes in here, but they will go into gathering slash utility. One of them is obviously in this, and the other one will be Pan. Now, why these heroes are in the gathering slash utility section? First of all, in this, even though she's mainly for gathering, she's still really good. You can think, if you played Rise of Kingdoms, you can think in this like a Joan of Arc, right? Joan of Arc in Rise of Kingdoms, the epic one, is also mainly for gathering, but still you could use her in the early days for field fighting or other events. In this is pretty much the same, it's just a legendary version, because her main skill inflicts infirm on the target legion and two nearby legions, increasing all damage taken up to 20% for 2 seconds. So it's a AoE debuff, and it's increasing all damage taken. This is really, really good. So when this hero had the skill, I couldn't just put her in the gathering section. It has to be in the gathering plus utility, while also healing slightly wounded units up to 2 friendly legions surrounding the target. You are not only debuffing the enemy's all damage taken, but you are also healing your own allies. Second skill is of course gathering. This one is extra HP plus legion capacity, so it makes you a little bit tankier. When in battle, in this legion gains unyielding, which reduces counterattack damage taken and removing 1 debuff effect. So even more skills to make in this tankier. And this one, her expertise, her awakened skill, it does boost your main skill. Instead of 2-second debuff, it goes to 3, and healing factor also increases for 100. So in this, had to go into gathering plus utility, because you can use this hero for field fighting for sure. Pan is similar, of course in this is stronger, but Pan is still good, because her first skill heals lightly wounded units in a nearby friendly legion with the lowest unit count and grants onslaught, increasing normal attack damage. So she has healing, she has some sort of a debuff. Second skill also gathering, extra defense, plus reducing hero skill damage taken. So both of these heroes, in this and Pan, even though they are gathering, they are super tanky, and they have either some sort of a buff, a debuff, or healing. So that's why they go into gathering plus utility category. The next tier is good but should be replaced. Now let's make it a little bit smaller and go back to our commander screen. Now in this tier we will only have epics, because all the legendaries are either great or the best. But the thing about epic heroes is that they're so versatile, it doesn't take much for you to max them, expertise them, or increase their overall level. So it is good to have epics, but when you have the chance, you should replace most of them. To me, the epics that should be replaced, Bakari is an infantry hero, But the thing about infantry in Call of Dragons is they're mostly for tanking, right? Garwood is amazing, we will get to that. Madeline is one of the best. So the main thing about infantry is tanking, but Bakar is kind of contrary. He deals decent amount of damage. He doesn't have amazing tankiness. He deals 600 skill damage plus increasing all damage. And the second thing is infantry units gains more attack. There is extra defense, but still no HP stat. This one inflicts gloom on the target, reduces their attacks. And this one is a garrison skill. Expertise is only active when he has less than 50% of units, which is not the most ideal time. He's the starting hero for Wilderberg faction, but you should replace him as fast as you can. The next one on the list for good but should be replaced is Alistair. He's kinda unique because he's the only cavalry hero that does AoE damage. As you can see on his first skill, Alistair deals hero skill damage to the target and 2 nearby legions, 600. And the beauty about this one is the damage does not get reduced by 15% per target, so that is great. The second one, similar to Bakar, gives some HP, gives some attack, not that bad, not that great. His next skill unfortunately only works in rallies, and we already know that rallies and garrisons are not majority of players, therefore mostly high spenders. His fourth skill I think pretty good, counterattack damage bonus plus rage accumulation speed bonus, so it increases your rage gain speed. That's why Alistair is actually really good, but unfortunately he does have a skill that doesn't work in field situations, which is pretty unfortunate, and his expertise is 10% less damage. It is great because if you look at Emrys for example, he pretty much doesn't have any defensive skills. You obviously have Bakshi, but we will get to him later because he will be he will be a top tier commander for you. He does have healing, he does have HP bonus, but until you get him, because you can only get Bakshi from the wheel, so it's going to take a lot for you to get Bakshi to a usable spot. Until then, you can certainly use Alistair paired with Emrys. That is why he is the next commander in good but should be replaced category. Most of the heroes in Call of Dragons do fall into that category in my opinion. Olvin, Atheus, Eliana, Gwenvin, Hosk, Craig, Nico I think also falls into that category. This girl too. Voldir falls into great, can be used for a long time category. Now if we simply start with Olvin, I will be quick because we have so many heroes. The main thing about Olvin is first of all he does have decent amount of crowd control. He doesn't have the best damage, but he has good crowd control skills such as march speed reduction, but most importantly he does have the control talent tree, which means if you go all the way up to this one, when you cast a raid skill you have a 25% chance to silence the target, preventing them from casting raid skills for 2 seconds. And if you've been playing Rise of Kingdoms, you should know that the main reason why we still keep using in 2023 Guan Yu in ROK is because his silence, of course he also deals a lot of damage, but he is a legendary. The main thing is, again as I said, is the silence. That silence is AoE, this one doesn't because Olvin is an epic hero, but still I think with your race skill silencing the target for 2 seconds is pretty good. So Olvin for sure falls into this category. He doesn't fall into good but should be replaced because on top of that every single skill of his is very useful in the open field. This one gives tankiness, this is attack and HP, so raw stats. This is more chance to ensnare your opponent, which means more damage. Olvin certainly falls into this category. The next one on the list was Atheus. Now, he doesn't have anything that is amazing. He has some sort of a healing, it is not much. This one is pretty good, extra rage. His main skill damage factor only 800 to a single target, and this is march speed with decent tankiness. So again, he's not bad, but the reason why he is in this category, the second best category, is mainly because of Thea. When you pair Atheus and Thea, you could have an amazing celestial march together, and this march will deal decent amount of damage because of Atheus, just okay damage, but so much tankiness because of Thea and Atheus together. Atheus has damage taken reduction, he has some sort of a healing, and Thea has a very good shield, and on top of that, from her second skill, more damage taken, and this time, hero skill damage taken reduction 15%. So these two together makes a great flying unit pair, mainly I should say, Celestials. And that's why Atheus in this category, maybe if we didn't have a commander, a hero like Thea, he could be one tier below, but for now, I think this pair is really good, and that's why Atheus goes into great category. The next one on the list, we have Eliana. She is, even though she's an epic, I think she's a great tank because she has a shield on her first skill. The next one is a PvE skill, not very useful, but this one 30% less normal attack damage, and when casting a raid skill, she gains shelter, increasing their defense for 30% for 5 seconds. Her expertise is an additional skill, grants a divine shield to Eliana's Legion, giving them a 70% chance to receive healing. This effect can be triggered once every 3 seconds, so the frequency is pretty good. So Eliana, I think she deserves this category because she is a really good tank commander. And then we have... Wait, what? Why do I have Emrys here? No, certainly not. He will go into this category. Sorry, that was a mistake. Next, we have Gwenwyn. She's a great epic, one of the starting hero options if you pick Spring Wardens at the start of the game. She has really good single target damage. When you choose Gwenwyn, the best benefit of her is, in my opinion, not her skills or anything. It is her versatility. You can use Gwenwyn either a primary or a secondary. You can pair her with Craig, one of the heroes in this category, so he is also really good. You can certainly pair Gwenwyn with Nico, or you can even pair her with Kinara. So the utility, the versatility Gwenwyn brings on the table is amazing. And on top of that, since naturally archers has the highest single target damage in Call of Dragons, you will always get a decent rank in those raids, the event that you kill behemoths. So Gwenwyn, I think, is an amazing option. And speaking of Craig, just like Gwenwyn, I think he is also a great hero. And you will get, the thing about Craig, you will get a lot of sculptures for, tokens for Craig at the start of the game, the event called Road to Glory. So you can almost immediately max his first skill. But the thing about Craig, be careful on this one, his fourth skill is for engineering. When building barricades and alliance buildings, his legion gains 10% engineering. So it's not that something you care. So what you want to do is only unlock his first 3 skills, max his skill first, and then unlock these 2. And before you unlock this one, so upgrading his level, before upgrading his star level, make sure that you max these 2 skills and then go to this one. Then max this one too, so that you can expertise him. But nevertheless, he is, I think, a great hero. Okay, this one is going to be controversial. We have Hosk. If you guys didn't know, you can only get Hosk tokens from the VIP exclusive chests, and I think it is pretty expensive to expertise him. The problem about this guy, you could increase the skill damage, the active skill damage of a hero by increasing their attack bonus. But before the global launch, makers of the game decided to nerf it so that you cannot increase your damage, your active skill damage, with the physical damage. So people would use Hosk as a primary and something like Emrys as a secondary, and then buff the damage of Emrys with the first skill of Hosk so that Emrys could deal ton of damage with their active skills. But that is not the case anymore, and the problem with Hosk is his second skill is a rally skill, right? So one of his skills immediately becomes useless for field fighting, but his fourth skill increases maximum legion capacity. The weird thing about this one is, okay, this is really good for open field, but this is a rally skill, this is a rally commander, he does have the rally talent tree, but this one, maximum legion capacity. It doesn't say the rallied army capacity, right? And there is a cap when you're launching rallies, a troop number cap. And that's why, on top of having a useless skill on the open field, he also has a useless skill for rallies. If this was something that could increase the rallied army capacity, yes, that would be great. For example, we have a similar skill in Rise of Kingdoms for Mehmed. But this one is just maximum troop capacity, legion capacity. So this is useless for rallies, and this is useful for open field. So what is the point? In my opinion, Hosk, of course, if you're going to expertise Hosk, you're a high spender, you mostly don't care about how much you spend in the game, then yeah, go ahead and do that. But for my mid spenders who are just not sure about expertising, like, is it worth it to expertise Hosk or not? In my opinion, no. Do not waste your money on Hosk. Go ahead and spend it on something else. But no, definitely not for Hosk. And the next one on the list, enough with the Hosk. We already talked about Craig. We have Nico and Nika. Nico is a great hero. He has a lot of damage. When you awaken him, he does have a great debuff. And he also has some flat stats. But the problem with Nico is his second skill. This one is engineering, unlike Craig. So his engineering skill is the fourth one, right? So you can technically guarantee these first 3 skill upgrades. So before you even unlock this one, you are going to max these 3. But for Nico, since his engineering skill is the second one, you can only guarantee maxing the first skill, and after that you will need to upgrade his levels and just pray that most skills lands on this one, Greymare's Ballista. Because for field fighting or raids, behemoth raids, this is going to be useless. You don't want any skill upgrades on this skill before these two. So it is based on luck. That is why Nico, even though he is, I think, one of the best legendaries in Call of Dragons right now, because of his engineering skill being the second one, so that you cannot upgrade the other two skills with a 100% chance, just like you can do with Craig. I think that's a big downside. That is why he's not on the top tier list. And Nika, I think even though she's really good, she's just like Bakar, because as I said at the start of the video when we were talking about Bakar, the main role of infantry in Call of Dragons, at least for now, is being absolute unit. Super tanky, super strong. But Nika, even though she's an infantry hero, she's all about damage. Look at this one. Deals hero skill damage and bruises them, reducing their HP. So that's a great debuff. But still a lot of damage. This one is a PvE skill, so completely useless. Extra attack and march speed, more damage. Hero skill damage by Nika's Legion 4% and counter-attack damage, so it is even more damage. And when she launches a normal attack, she has a 50% chance to deal more skill damage if the target has fewer than 50% remaining. And you can trigger this effect every 2 seconds. So the damage output is crazy. But I think in Call of Dragons right now, as I said, the main role of infantry is not the damage. Because you are going into head-to-head combat, you want to be as tanky as possible so that you can have some breathing room, some time to let your mages and your archers deal a ton of damage. That is why, even though she, like Nika, probably deals crazy amount of damage, but she is just in the second best category because, as I said, infantry right now is for tanking. Last but not least, Voldir, the best epic hero in the game right now, but still, he is an epic. Every single skill of Voldir is super useful for the field. Of course, what you want to do is max his first 3 skills first, and then unlock his 4th skill, and then expertise him. But still though, the damage he deals is like, even though it's AoE, it's just 600. The flat stats are pretty low, 20%. 15% hero skill damage is superb. That's why he is in this tier. But we played Rise of Kingdoms for so long, we know that even though that commander is like certainly the best epic and better than a lot of legendaries, Voldir is going to be replaced at some point. But until then, you can certainly use him. He is a great hero in Call of Dragons. Something that you should spend your pretty much every single universal hero tokens. I've done it so far, and I will keep doing until his expertise, maxed. I could have one more hero in this tier, and that will be Garwood. The reason is Garwood is basically Richard 2.0. He has a lot of healing, a lot of tanking, so all he does is reduce the damage taken and heal. So tank as much as you can. Now for some people, he deserves this category because, yeah, he is so tanky and everything. But that is all he does, right? He's a punching bag. But for some people, he should be in the best category because the point of infantry is being able to tank the damage. Become as tanky as you can. So he is kind of controversial. I think I will just put him into the best category because the next to best is going to be Madeline. I think she is like... Madeline Garwood is like Charles Martel and Richard at the start of the game. Like, think about 4 or 5 years ago. They were the boss. And in Call of Dragons, Madeline has a lot of shielding effect and also decent amount of damage. Garwood, just like Richard, he has a lot of damage mitigation and healing. And if you're going to put Madeline in the best category, I think Garwood also deserves it because since the best pairing for Madeline is, in my opinion, Garwood, I think he can also be in this category. The next commanders are going to be our best, pretty much the only one if you don't count Alistair, the best cavalry march, Bakshi and Emrys. Wait, that's Valen. Yep, Emrys. I'm not going to go through every single skill of them, but Emrys pretty much deals probably the best single target damage in the game. He has 1.5k skill damage factor, and on top of that he has rage accumulation speed bonus, goes up to 40% for 5 seconds. Yes, I know it does have a kind of long cooldown, but still super strong. And the third one, more attack, and the fourth one is absurd. All damage dealt by Emrys Legion increases 10%, And on top of that, if you're attacking a target that is surrounded, you get extra 15% hero skill damage. That is crazy. And on this one, Van attack, his expertise, he has 20% chance to gain passion, increasing rage accumulation speed again for 20% for 5 seconds. And if he already has passion, it is removed, granting 100 rage. This effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. That is nuts. That is crazy. Emrys just keeps dealing skill damage. His rage accumulation is crazy. His single target damage is crazy. So Bakshi and Emrys, naturally, they are an amazing pair, and obviously they are the best cavalry pair in the game. Next, let's talk about our mages, Lilia and Velen. I've talked about Velen a lot, caught up in it up in the guide that we made about Voldir, the best epic hero in Call of Dragons. Lilia, she's a VIP hero, so if you're not spending in the game, you don't care about Lilia, but if you're a low spender, a 5-1-1-1 is great. If you're a middle spender or high spender, then you can certainly expertise Lilia. She's one of the best heroes in Call of Dragons at this moment. Probably I would say top 5 for sure, but maybe even top 3. Velen is also a perfect hero. Every single skill of Velen is all about skill damage, a little bit of tankiness and AoE. And he doesn't have any useless skills, no PvE skills, no garrison, no rally skill, or no engineering, of course. So he is the complete package. He has everything that you expect from a magic hero, certainly. And he's also coming from the gold keys. One of the best for sure. I'm trying to be faster so that we can end this video because I don't know how long it's been. And the next two are Thea and Kinara. Already explained Thea when we were discussing Atheus. So she's an absolute unit. Her tankiness is absurd. And when you pair her with Atheus, you are making use of a really decent epic. If your faction is League of Order, your flying units are Celestials. And in my opinion, they are the best flying units. So Thea Atheus is a great pair, 100% recommended. And Kinara is just simply the best archer hero in the game right now. Yes, some could say Nico, because Nico has a lot of utilities, like he's very useful in PvP against other players. Also, he deals a ton of damage because of his debuff to Behemoth. So some could say Nico, and on top of that, he comes from the gold keys. But Kinara, hands down, has to be the best archer in the game. Huge skill damage factor, a little bit of tankiness, more damage, more attack, march speed. Like, she has everything that you want from an archer commander, an archer hero. So in my opinion, Kinara 100% S tier, the best tier, and the best archer commander, the best archer hero in Call of Dragons. And here, something as equally important as the hero tier list, the artifact guide. Make sure to tap on that. I see you on that one. Bye.